that because you're here on pretty short notice, and I do appreciate it very much. We were scheduled to go to another location, and to be honest with you, so that you'll know how we got here, is they double booked us. And we put some pressure on. Jude and I went to them and put some pressure on and asked them to help us negotiate a better deal here with the Mesa Verde Country Club, which they did. So I think we have a better venue, better food. We have a nicer staff. And so we're all here, we're all happy. The way this started is targeted phone calls were made. I started making some phone calls about 5 or 6 years ago, and Kat started making a phone call every once in a while, just to gauge the interest. And there wasn't any. Nobody wanted to do it. Let's pass. Oh, we know we don't want to do that right now. We got Facebook. We know what everybody's doing. Except for Dan Hilliard. Dan Hilliard, where are you, Dan? Just raise your hand. There's Dan. Dan Hilliard raised his hand and called me every once in a while saying, well, you going to do something? As if I had the magic keys to the reunion. But he was persistent. But there still wasn't enough interest until about March or April of this year. I get this phone call from Jude Luttrell, and I'm on top of the Civic Center roof, looking at their helicopter pads and deciding whether or not there's enough there to be safe. And I take the phone call, I go to the edge of the building, and it's from Jude, so either I could answer the phone call or jump off. And I decided to take the call, and so we spent some time, what should this reunion look like? And there were a couple of ideas. I don't know, is Claire Robinson here yet?
No. Not yet.
I talked with Claire Robinson, amongst others, to get an idea as to what kind of look we should have. Should we have just a cocktail party where there's no risk? Come as your own, buy your own cocktail, buy your own hors d'oeuvre, and just get to mingle, which would have been just great. Except that Jude thought that the 50th needed to be a little bit more upscale. So now, mind you, we were doing this in April. The question was, could we do this and at least hit a break-even point? So arbitrarily, we shot and broke even at 60 people. And I think today we have about 63 to 65, maybe 66 here. So it worked. Now Jude, the committee did an awesome job. Now Jude, to her credit, made phone call after phone call. And then Royce Allen jumped in and was a great help also. Jerry Bagger joined us a little later in the program and was invaluable in giving us some advice and guidance. And I reached back to Bevan Swenson, who is a retired CFO of a large manufacturing company in Long Beach. And she knows numbers, and she kept me sane. Because with about a month to go, we still only had about 30 people. I'm thinking, should we pull this plug? Should we pull this plug? But we pushed forward, and Marie Ruddy kept holding my hand and saying, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And it was. It worked out really well, so I do thank you all for coming. When you have this type of a thing, and the class of '68 is being represented here today, because they're going to be planning their reunion, but they're planning their reunion for next September, so it's going to be over 12 months that they'll have, so I'm sure that they'll do an excellent job. And anything we can do here to help, of course, where Mary Ann Miller is, we'll be happy to do that. Sherry Brown made the memorial plaque, and to call somebody up on the phone and say, hey, you want to make a memorial plaque? I mean, it's kind of a gruesome thing to begin with, but she did a great job on it, and I thank you. I don't know where Sherry is. She's here. There she is. Thank you, Sherry, for doing that. Now, Bevan Swenson. Bevan, come on up here for a second, will you? Come on, baby.
Marty.
Bevan Swenson. Come on, you're not that old. You can move faster than that. I've seen you. Bevan Swenson. I conned Bevan into telling me where she's been, because she's been hard to get a hold of. In the last 6 months, she's visited England, France, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Hong Kong, and the states of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois, Missouri, Alabama, Louisiana, the Florida Everglades, Tennessee, and Mississippi. Now, and Hawaii. Now, I've watched Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and I'm wondering, who are you hiding from? Who are you running from? But to make it so that we don't have this kind of a problem trying to find you, and the next time, I'm going to put this on you. Oh, it gets better.
Where's Mom?
Now we'll know. Now we'll always know where Bevan is, because Bevan, I appreciate your time. Go sit down. Some of you maybe remember John McKinley, a member of our class. I had dinner with him, and a couple of dinners with him about, well, John McKinley owns a hotel in San Clemente on the beach. And when I say hotel, he owns the whole damn block. He's done a really good job. And he's offered his facility for our reunion. The only problem is we only had a hillside. It had to be outside. Bathrooms were hard to get to. Parking was impossible. And we had to do it from about 4 o'clock till about 7 o'clock. So as nice of an offer that was, I do appreciate it. I always wanted to mention him. He owns the Seahorse Inn in San Clemente. And he can't be here tonight because he is closing on the Casa Sedona bed and breakfast that he now owns as of today in Sedona, California. So there's a real loser for you in our class. Jerry Bagger has been a friend of mine since the 8th grade. That's when I first moved to California. And he's been an inspiration to more than just me. I've always enjoyed Jerry. He was bright. He was a little different in his thought process. Really enjoyed his pure intelligence. And he couldn't be here tonight. So I do want to memorialize him in some way. I'm not sure exactly how I should do that. But Jerry,
hold it up to your face and let Maria take it.
It's with sincere gratitude that I appreciate your time that you spent with us on the committee. Well, George, I'm glad that I'm here. Jerry, why are you talking in such a high-pitched voice? Well, George, you have your hand on my... Oh, Jerry. But I was a big fan of Jerry all through the high school area. Honored guests, Ken Cave, I know you're here somewhere, but I don't know where. Just raise your hand. I don't want you to sit down. Thanks, Ken. Ken has been a teacher at our school, and probably many others, for a long time. And he was here at our 40th, and I'm really pleased that he's here with us at the 50th. Thank you very much. Alicia Alcasa, where is she? Alicia. Alicia Alcasa was our foreign exchange student in our senior year. She was in our Spanish class with me and with Sherry Brown-Pepper now. Anybody else here in that class? Just the three of us here? Mrs. Patterson, our teacher, just passed away not too long ago. I don't want to say fortunate enough, but I did attend her funeral, and I got a chance to speak there. Very nice family, and I really did appreciate the time there. Alicia, es con mucho gusto. Bienvenidos a los Estados Unidos, y ojalá que tenga un buen tiempo, experiencia memorable aquí y esta semana que viene en este país con sus amigos Sherry. Now, if you want to know what I said, hold it. Now, if you want to know what I said, you can ask Sherry. She was in college. She was a Spanish major, and so she'll tell you. Or if you paid attention in Spanish, you know what we're doing. Okay, real quick here now. It turns out that there was this bird, and there was this sailor, probably in Norfolk. Where's John Bowman? Probably on the East Coast side, probably somewhere out in Norfolk. And they walk into a bar. So we have an eagle and a sailor walking into a bar, and the eagle can speak. He walks up to the bartender and says, "Hey, bartender, got any grapes?" Bartender looks at him and kind of is puzzled that, first of all, that an eagle can speak. And he says, "No, we don't have any grapes. This is a bar. Get out of here." So they walk out. Next day, they come in again. Eagle walks up to the bartender and says, "Hey, bartender, got any grapes?" And the bartender says, "No. You were here yesterday, and I told you then, we don't have any grapes here. It's a bar." Well, he comes in the third day, and the eagle walks up one more time and says, "Hey, bartender, you got any grapes?" And at this point, the bartender's beside himself. He's jumping up and down, screaming, and he says to the eagle, "If you come in here one more time, I'm going to nail your feet, your claws, your talons to the bar floor." The eagle's nonplussed, walks out. The next day, they come back one more time. The bartender is looking at them, and the eagle says, "Hey, bartender, got any nails?" The bartender says, "No, we don't have any nails." The eagle comes back with, "Got any grapes?" Well, I tell this because there's a little bit of a moral to the story, and that moral is that this reunion is for you guys. I'd like you to talk to each other. This is your chance to talk to people that you've not talked with or spoken with in many years. This is not for the Eagles of Estancia High School, and it's not for the Sailors of Newport Harbor. It's for us, the Mustangs of Costa Mesa. By the way, you've seen our bartender, Oscar. Oscar, what are you going to do if there's Eagles or Sailors here? That, oh boy. You see that? Nice job, Oscar. That's what you do. Pound those feet. Well, it's at this time that I get to invite Jude Luttrell to